Okay, my summer warriors. Hi, ladies. I'm going to go over some phone call responses if any of you are manning the phones during your full day a week here. In no apparent order, you've got your wildlife calls. So if it's something that we do, talk to the person on the other end of the phone. Try to get as much information as possible. If there's going to be any kind of wing break or leg break or severe injury that needs a veterinarian, their best bet is going to be to go to the clinic, or you can give them Kristen's number. If it's an animal that we do not do, but you're just giving advice, that's going to be the hardest part for those of you that haven't taken a wildlife class. But if you're just going to give advice like, hey, I found a bunch of bunnies in a little hovel, can I pull them out and bring them to you? The answer is no, but you need to explain to people why. And the reason is it's best to keep the bunnies in where they are. Mama bunnies only show up twice a day to feed. They're not there all the time. So people want to grab something and bring it to you and think you're going to fix it. No rehabber fixes baby bunnies very well at all. There's a high mortality rate, and their best bet, if they're not injured, is to stay where they are. The mama will find them, the mama will come back. Always talk to people about handling with gloves, not with their bare hands. Especially if you're talking about a rabies vector species, they should not be handling something. If they're on the phone with you and they're about to touch it, stop them. Tell them that they've got to put gloves on or that they shouldn't be touching it at all. If they do, they think they're saving that animal, and unfortunately they're going to put the animal to sleep in order to test it for rabies. And then the people get really, really upset that happens. So it's best to try to prevent the public from causing more harm than good. When you're talking about baby songbirds, lots of times they fall out of nests. If you can walk somebody through picking up the baby, looking for the nest, getting out a ladder, climbing a tree, putting it back in the nest, or if you really can't find the nest, you can actually build a baby nest and put it on a pole or somewhere near where they think the mama would be. So again, a lot of what you're doing is not saying to the public, yeah, sure, bring that baby here. I'd say 6 out of 10 phone calls I take, I'm just giving advice. I'm telling them, what the best thing to do is. The other thing, I'm going to reach for it right now. If it's anything that we don't do, that we do believe the animal needs to be taken to a rehabber, is on this rehabber sheet. So that is going to be sitting at the corner of the extra desk. You can refer to it. It's got the names and phone numbers and specialties of all the rehabbers, so that'll be really helpful. Okay, that's number one. Number two, let's go with random. I just got a call from somebody who has got sent a flat Stanley. If you don't know what flat Stanley is, I can tell you, but got sent a flat Stanley, and they wanted to bring it here because their grandson loves pigs and they wanted to take pictures with the pigs. The answer is no. It's a very nice no, though. So you've got to explain to people, number one, we're not open to the public. Why? Because of what we do. We take in animals from severe neglect, cruelty, and abuse cases, and it's not our job to turn this into a petting zoo. It's our job to give medical care to these high-risk, special needs animals. Some of them, like the pigs, are in the middle of a court case right now. We can't have the general public coming in and petting them. You can explain to the people that we are open to the public on certain days throughout the year. If they send us our email, or if you can jot down their email, we'll put them on the list so they can be alerted to when that is. But the person didn't want to give up. Well, my grandson loves pigs, and I've got this flat Stanley, and I really need a photo. And I just kept explaining it different ways, and I think we went back and forth about 4 times. And even at the end of the call, she's like, so I really just can't come by for a quick photo with the pigs. No, you can't. So it's not losing a potential donor. You want to get an email address if you can. You don't want people hanging up mad at you. That's the worst possible thing that can happen. I don't want to throw Jessica under the bus, but she did it in the very short time she was working here. She did it. Somebody pulled up in person. She was rude to them. They ended up giving us a bad star review on, I think it was Google, and then somebody else complained that she was rude over the phone. So we want to make sure that we avoid that from happening. But you'll feel it out. The more comfortable you get, the better you'll figure out what to say. Let's go on to another topic. We've got the constant calls for pigs, roosters. Can you take my apartment pig? I'm getting kicked out of my apartment. Can you take my rooster? It makes a lot of noise and it goes after my females. Yeah, we know. We have one too. And so again, it's not just the no, it's the no with an explanation as to why. So it's telling them no because we already have a rooster. Number two, you're just looking to place your pet. Basically, what I really want to say to them is, you're horrible pet owners. That's not, it's your responsibility, not our responsibility, to fix your problem. And you decided you have a problem, and now it's inconvenient for you. And, the answer is, you suck as a human being because you just want to dump this on us. Obviously, we can't say any of that to them ever, ever, ever. It's what goes through my mind. People piss me off when they call and I have no use for this animal anymore, so it's going to be your problem. So we have to be very strict and very stern and letting them know what you are trying to do is not what we do. Again, we only work with municipal authorities, SPCAs, things like that, the animal control officers, and we get involved when an animal is being seized for neglect or abuse, and there are going to be criminal charges involved. So if you're not having criminal charges pressed against you, unfortunately, you don't fall under our mission statement. Pam Holmes is going to be working on finding a list of resources. She's going to start compiling a list of resources. She might even ask a few of you to help. But that's going to be a really good way to at least be able to point people in the right direction and say, maybe you can call these few numbers, or if you give us your email address, we'll email this out to you, and that might help. And people usually are appreciative when I refer them verbally to one place or another. The next kind of call you're going to get is either, do you have puppies and kittens or cats and dogs, or can I drop off my puppy, kitten, cat, or dog? Again, the answer to most of those is going to be no. And even with the do you have dogs, we might, but we might not. And when we do, and they're up for adoption, we're not just waiting for people to call. We're actively trying to get that dog adopted out. So again, that'll be part of what Pam works on, making sure that we have other resources to refer. I get a lot of calls about tours in general. It's easiest if they're just looking to know when our next open house date is or something like that. That's great. If they want to talk about a group tour, it's groups of 10 or more. I will have written information for all of you that you can share. We can even book those together. I mean, I'll leave my calendar on the desk, and a few of you have expressed the ability to give tours during your shift, and I think we're also bringing on another person specifically for tours. So we might do that on Saturdays or Sundays, maybe not every week, but we'll make sure that there's a tour schedule laying around that people can fill in. If people are really insistent, well, I'm looking for something to do with my grandkids today, and it's Saturday, and it's got to be a nice, again, just very nicely explain to them, we're here, all volunteer based. We don't have anyone on schedule at this time. Tell them that's a costly undertaking to have a staff person on. I use all those kinds of things. You don't want them to be mad. You want them to be understanding, maybe even feel a little sorry for your plight, that, we're doing all we can do and we just are not available. Our focus is on the animals. Try to get their information if you can. The other thing would be people who call who actually want to get involved and volunteer. Not only do we have animal care volunteers, as you all know, we have dozens and dozens and dozens of types of volunteering. I've had people come that you all know Jesse really well. He came as a videographer. Green Thumbs, you all know our Green Thumbs really well. We've got a painter, we've got a handyman, we've got special cleaners, we have animal care, we've got people that just want to get involved with marketing. I actually am getting somebody started that is going to be our volunteer calendar shift coordinator. She's going to help with all the coverages, all the scheduling changes and things like that, which is going to take a lot off my desk. That's awesome. And I even have people that just want to do photography, or they want to make something for the gift shop. All of the things, anybody has a skill. If somebody says, I knit stuff, we can give them alpaca wool and have them knit stuff for us. There's so many choices that we have that we can bring people on board. You'll always have access to the monthly animal care calendar, and I'll always let all of you know if there is an animal care spot that needs to be filled. More often than not, there isn't, but every once in a while there is. If somebody does call and they're interested in that, Pam Dow can attest to this. I talked her into doing Green Thumb stuff in the meantime, and now she's head Green Thumb, and there's no way in heck that I'm taking her off Green Thumbs to do an animal care position. So yeah, you can always talk somebody into doing something else that they may fall in love with, and they may realize this is great and I'm really happy doing this. So that is another really helpful type of call. When they do call, you want to get their phone number and you want to get their email address, because that's something we can always reach out and follow up with them. So I think the last type of call is one that you just can't answer, and for reasons you feel that it needs to come to me, absolutely, 100%. Just if I'm right next to you or if I'm in the area, just put them on hold, ask if they have a minute. You'll get the executive director, and just call me over and I will pick it up from there. All right? Thanks, guys.